Aloha, friends and family. Aloha, aloha, aloha. Aloha carries the blessings of absolute true love, divine light. Can you feel that? The presence of divine breath. Feel the divine light entering you on your divine breath. Recognizing God in everyone, in all of life. Truth and humbleness, being aware in each moment. And one of the most important things we need to currently be aware of is the amount of time we are engaged with electronic media. And this is especially true when it comes to our children. In addition to emitting frequencies that are not compatible with our human bodies and other biological life, as discussed in my blog, Let the Dragons, Frequencies and God's Grace Flow, they are addictive and can influence our minds and thus our entire way of viewing the world, subtly and not so subtly. They can quite honestly disrupt and even sever us from our aloha of divine light, our ability to recognize the truth, and in the case of our children, their capabilities to develop other necessary abilities they're going to need throughout the rest of their lives. Peter Mangione, an expert on early childhood learning, says, the brains of today's children are being structured in language patterns antagonistic to the values and goals of formal education. If a child spends an inordinate amount of time on video games or television or computer use, instead of playing and experimenting with many different types of skills, the foundations for some kinds of abilities may be sacrificed. These losses may not show up until much later. Tender young brains need broad, flexible development, not overbuilt neural pathways in one specific skill area. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting before, my name is Timothy, the Magical Kids Books creator. I've now been blessed to write more children's stories than anyone alive. 86 to date, with many more coming. The entertaining and educational family stories and courses I create with God's grace, my wisdom, creativity, radiant love, and knowledge of ancient arts and sacred sciences. Switch on the love, bliss, and brilliance genes in all generations. Even as you're listening now, your love, bliss, brilliance genes, and more are being activated. Stories, talks like this have been used for thousands of years to pass on blessings, seed generational wisdom, trigger aha moments within listeners, and pass on warnings like today. Over the past 40 years, I've helped tens of thousands of people just like you leap over some of life's most difficult challenges with grace and ease to experience the wonders of vital health, the freedom of financial wealth, the bliss of a quiet, focused mind, the joys of loving relationships, their soul powers, and seeing their dreams come true. During these 40 years, I've seen many parents unknowingly relegate both their parenting responsibilities and their children's education to various electronic media. These commercial electronic products only have profits in mind, not your children's best interest at heart. Extensive research has shown several key factors interfering with the early developmental needs of babies toddlers, and preschoolers. These include a decline in one-on-one interactions with parents, grandparents, and other caregivers. Overexposure to electronic media, television, videos, computers, cell phones, including electronic educational programs. The content of electronic media, excessive loudness, image bombardment, physical violence, materialism, and unrealistic, unhealthy problem solving. Unfortunately, these factors are also at work in most of today's homes, preschools, and childcare facilities, undermining the health, school readiness, parent-child bonding, and family stability of young children. The emotional and physical consequences of these factors on children often include irritability, impulsiveness, inappropriate risk-taking, inactivity-induced obesity, and excessive aggressiveness. In school settings, they directly contribute to failing test scores, poor writing skills, a decline in literacy, and inadequate oral expression. Just as seriously, they contribute significantly to difficulties with abstract language and thought, the essential elements of higher intelligence. Early childhood educators recognize that parents are the most influential teachers their children will ever have. Parents teach by listening, responding, and elaborating on what their children already know. This style of parent-child interaction promotes curiosity, problem solving, concept building, and positive self-esteem. This type of parent-child interaction is what I have built into every course, every fairy tale I've created. The American Academy of Pediatrics strongly urges parents to avoid TV viewing entirely for children under the age of 2 years and to limit the viewing of all electronic media combined to 1 to 2 hours a day for children over 2. Even educational electronic media is overdone in most households. The average American child spends more than 3 to 5 hours a day in front of a TV and grows up in a home with multiple electronic devices, 3 TVs, 3 tape players, 3 radios, 2 VCRs, 2 CD players, a video game player, a computer, not to mention cell phones. Those statistics are from the Federal Trade Commission survey in May to July of 2000. We're 20-some years later, and it hasn't gotten any better. I can't even imagine what the statistics are now based on the world events since 2020. With the advent of cell phones, MP3 players, and the like, children 8 to 18 are averaging over 10 electronic hours a day. Children are now hooked to social interactions through electronics and watching TV, movies, and games on smartphones and tablets. The Early Childhood Information Clearinghouse documents that 9-month-old children are watching an average of over 90 minutes of television a day, while preschoolers are watching almost 4 hours a day. In the preschool years, Ellen Galinsky and Judy David state the best predictors of good reading comprehension in primary school children are minimal TV viewing during the preschool period, non-physical discipline, a curious, resourceful mother, and an orderly household routine. TV should not replace the primacy of books in children's early years. The best reading readiness consists of giving children experiences in the real world, materials to play out those experiences, and discussions that help them understand these experiences. What is essential is providing a language-rich environment. Did you know that every hour a child sits in front of the TV, gaming device, or other electronic device is an hour they are not making friends, reading books, using their imagination, playing outside in nature, and engaged in another life-enriching activity? Also, the content of these programs children are watching is far more violent than adult fare. Ellen Galinsky and Judy David, The Preschool Years, Family Strategies That Work from Experts and Parents, found that TV violence causes children to act in more aggressive or hurtful ways and have more nightmares. Young children have difficulty separating the TV image from the real thing, and that includes whether it's cartoons or not. Galinsky's and David's research also noted that TV viewing hampers children's academic performance, interferes with reading, perpetuates stereotypes, promotes impulsiveness, and an inability to persist with tasks and inhibits imaginative play. Television commercials foster materialism, creating appetites for expensive items that have little real value and create parent-child conflict. I invite you to fully take charge of your children's education and give them the opportunity to achieve all they possibly can in life. I encourage you to use electronic media wisely and only as a select part of your children's education. Everything that I create can be downloaded and printed out so that your children don't have to be exposed and reading it on the electronic equipment. I invite you to take Albert Einstein's genius advice to heart. If you want your children to be brilliant, tell them fairy tales. If you want them to be very brilliant, tell them even more fairy tales. And I say, if you want your children to be beyond brilliant, tell them fairy tales of the heart. You'll find a link in the description box to a free fairy tale of the heart and an inspirational BB Jubilee song that will delight you and your children. You'll also find free guided meditations, exercises, and more at the link. Something for you and every member of your family. There's also a special link in the description box to download your free introduction to the magical miracle of you, a self-development program for children and families. Nowhere else in the world, nowhere will you find a complete, life-enhancing, educational, entertaining, and inspirational program like this. It's a rare combination of arts and sciences, proven over hundreds of centuries to educate, entertain, and empower you and your children, helping you live happy, joyous, successful lives, ever more connected to your original magic. It includes live, lifetime support every week, 10 modules, a 196-page activity book, over 24 fairy tales of the heart related to the module topics, guided meditation and exercise recordings, a bonus lifetime membership in Blissberry Bears Beyond a Book Club for children and parents, and another special bonus, a 12-module Sacred Parent Magical Child course. May all your dreams come true, living in, as, with, and for your aloha, being a blessing for yourself and everyone you meet, especially your children and your family. Please like, comment on, and share this video with your friends and family. Let's give everyone an opportunity to experience their full potential, to learn what they need to learn to do that, to develop their full capabilities, their full aloha. With all my blessings for peace, love, vibrant health, and bliss, wrapped in infinite double rainbows of miraculous, magical miracles for you, your children, and your family. Aloha and mahalo for tuning in, for being here now. May we all use all forms of electronic media wisely, and especially in ways that protect our children. With all my love, with all my blessings, with all my respect. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Aloha, aloha, aloha. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.